One. Welcome to Washington East to West Sports. This is episode 97. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside, as usual, by Sean Beatty and Kevin Ardall. If you want to get involved in the show, go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Beatty_Matt. Sean is at Sean_Beatty. Kev is at SEA2Believe. That is C2Believe on Twitter. Like our videos on YouTube. Comment. Tell us what you think of all the topics we talk about. Please subscribe. Smash that subscribe button, as other places might say. But let's talk first about the Seattle Sounders, and they started off with an opening game win against Colorado Rapids, 4-0 on Sunday. Christian rolled on with the first goal, Jordan Morris with 2 goals, and then, boy, I'm gonna mess up this name. Heber scored the other goal. I hope I said that right. But
You did.
I'm gonna throw this to Sean because Sean was tweeting about this
Yeah.
yesterday. So, Sean, did you watch the game, and how impressed were you with the Seattle Sounders?
I am making an active effort now this year to watch all of the Sounders games, are the ones that I'm able to on TV. And yeah, I watched the whole game. Uh, was a little frustrated in the first half because I felt like, well, early on in the first half, about halfway through, because I was like, oh man, it's the classic Matthew knows, kind of like a hockey thing when you're dominating for 20 minutes and you don't score, and all it takes is one mistake, and the other team now scores, even though you've been dominating and you're losing down now 1-0. I was like, that's how I felt it was, because at one point Colorado hit the crossbar, and I'm like, Seattle, you've been dominating, should be probably 2-0, if not 3-0, and they just hit the crossbar. Like, can we not be down? And then they started pouring it on, and then at no point did it stop. Yeah, one of the goals for the Sounders was fluky, but like I said, they could have easily had two other goals. So I think Colorado got away safe, only losing 4-0. So clean sheet, 4 goals. It's hard to be upset about it, and it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't even a fluke. They up and down both sidelines. Joan Morrison dominated. Rodon dominated. It was just, and Seven Wright didn't have to do a whole lot. He did make a couple saves. The one best chance that Colorado had was a nice opportunity, but he just missed the net too. So it was just like the one chance they got a solid strike, it wasn't even on net. So it was just a complete domination, start to finish. So I don't know if you guys saw the before the game, the crew, the Sounders fans had a "Don't Call It a Comeback" poster.
I did
Um,
see that.
and yeah, so I would say, yeah, don't call it a comeback. So, because they were dominant.
Well, last year I think the Sounders dealt with a lot of injuries, and they had the CONCACAF win, so that was kind of their big win. But in terms of the MLS regular season, certainly disappointing, missing the playoffs for like the first time in many, many years. So sounds like the Sounders are back to form, from what Sean saw. So Sounders are back in action this Saturday at home against Real Salt Lake. They actually only have Saturday games this month. They go to Cincinnati on March 11th. They are back at home for LAFC on the 18th, and then they are traveling to Sporting Kansas City on March 25th. Kevin, are you going to try and watch some Seattle Sounders games this year?
Yeah, I mean, at Prime, so I'm gonna just depends on if I'm working or not. But if I'm not working, I'll try to throw on at least a half to kind of catch what's going on. So,
Are they still on Prime? Sean, is that how you watched it?
Now, they were on FS1.
Oh, okay.
uh,
I mean, like to Kevin's point, they switch around a lot. So
yeah,
it depends on um, when the game is. But yeah, they were on FS1 for the first game.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, if the Sounders are back on Amazon, that would be much easier for, I'm sure, a lot of people to watch the Sounders. But please try and check out the Sounders whenever you can. And let us move on to talk about some Seattle Seahawks football. Now, yes, it is the off season. We already talked about Gino, but some other stuff has happened since we were last on the podcast, right before, sorry, right after the Super Bowl when we talked about the bets that we won. So. Actually, did we talk about that? I don't know if we did talk about that.
We
I
did
can't.
not.
we haven't
We have
even
not
gone
talked
over the
about that. That's
Super
right.
Bowl.
Okay, well let me run down our Super Bowl bets here then, because apparently I have forgotten since we weren't podcasting for a couple weeks there. So, I will say that Sean won, and it's only because a lot of us picked the same. So we all picked the under for combined jersey numbers. What was that number, Kevin? I forget. It was like 180 something.
Yeah, it was over, but
Yeah, thanks, Travis Kelce. So
mm.
that one, uh, due to the tight ends, really kind of ruined us there. The color of the first Gatorade pour, no one picked purple. So you had to do some digging for purple on that one. And I saw some people online reacting to the color of the Gatorade because you can bet on pretty much anything for the Super Bowl. We all were correct for the KC net offensive yards. We all said under 368.5. The last play of the game was not a quarterback kneel. We all got that one right. And then more in the game. Actually, sorry, Kevin and Sean tied. I was last. Kevin picked total field goals made, whereas Sean and I picked total turnovers were going to be more. And then Sean picked Kansas City, and Kevin and I picked Philly minus the 1.5. So overall, Sean and Kevin just missed the touchdown score numbers, and then each missed another one. I missed the touchdown scores one, as well as the more in the game and the pick. So congratulations to you guys. But once again, there was nothing on the line, so you just get the pride of being right. Now, back to the Seattle Seahawks here. Let's talk a little bit about some of the news that has happened. Right guard Phil Haynes signed a 1-year, $4 million with the Seahawks via source, $2.185 million signing bonus, 1.305 base salary fully guaranteed, and $510K in per game roster bonuses. So that's $3.49 million guaranteed and a cap charge of $4 million. This is according to ESPN's Brady Henderson 4 days ago. Kevin, does this mean anything? Are you excited? Are you neutral? How do you feel about this?
Yeah, no, it technically essentially means that Gabe Jackson is probably not going to be on this team next year. And you're probably going to get a little bit of money out of that. Phil Haynes has been, yeah. I mean, could we upgrade at the position? Oh, most definitely. And we probably should try to somewhere in the draft, hopefully. Our guards are not really great at the moment, but it doesn't really mean anything in the long run. No, I mean, Phil Haynes has proven to be serviceable. I'm sure his numbers are probably not the best, but like, I mean, who knows? Maybe with a full training camp, with him as a starter, maybe he might get better. It's unlikely, but I've seen
28. I mean,
I've seen miracles
I think
happen.
he is who he is at this point.
I mean, miracles can happen. Okay,
they can.
Unicorn blood can come out.
We went to the well with Gino once. Like, we don't need to keep running the risk of it happening. That just.
But I mean, with a 1-year deal, you're either going to draft a kid who's going to play the start, and then he's a backup, or you draft a kid and you just sit him behind him for a year to you play Phil Haynes as your starter and let the kid learn from Phil Haynes, which is probably not great. I would say your best route is just draft one and then let him play like what you did with Lucas and Cross. But I mean, he's a solid backup for a 1-year deal. I mean, was it the most exciting move? No, but I mean, there's still a lot yet things to occur. So yeah, not much news other than that Gabe Jackson is probably not going to be here next year.
Yeah, according to the story by Brady Henderson, he was in 15 games last season with just 3 starts. So I kind of look at this as an insurance move, kind of like what Kevin said. I don't think he will be a starter necessarily. I think he is on the roster because of his experience with this team last year and the fact that he knows the playbook. I think that's probably about it. He's 27, so he's not super old or anything. So I think this is a nice little insurance move to shore up arguably one of the most important positions in football, which is the offensive line. Sean, what do you think?
No, guards are not the most important position in football. But they're actually the least valuable on the offensive line. But anyways, you were half right, Matthew. Kevin is correct. I think this means Gabe Jackson Phil Haynes is a starter. I think that means they're cutting Gabe Jackson and saving $6.5 million, which they're basically the same player. Phil Haynes is younger, just a younger version of him. They're both not good by any stretch of the imagination. I think, where did Gabe Jackson rank in value? 100. No. I gotta do some math here. 98th. So offensive lineman. So he was not good by any means. But it's what it is, and it's how much was it again? 4 million. It's not the worst. It's $4 million for an offensive lineman who's going to start for you. It's kind of like Blythe last year. It's not going to go great, but at this point, it's kind of like I compare it to the Blair Walsh move. It's not a good player. You're not paying him a lot though. But when bad things happen, Seahawks fans don't get mad because that's what you spent money on. Like you spent money on not a good lineman, so you're not going to get good line play. So that's just what it is. Like just so we are aware, the run game's going to suffer, and the passing game with Geno Smith's going to suffer. Probably look closer to second half than it did first half, but that's just what it is, and that's what we're paying for. Was it good enough? Yeah, it was good enough. But that's just what it is. I think this is the smart move because free agency with guards, you could, in theory, go out and get somebody marginally better, but it's going to cost you 3 times the amount. And especially with, I think, the route that they're going to pay Geno, they don't have the money for that. So they're saving money on the O-line, and they're going to make Geno be Geno. And so that's I don't disagree with this move. $4 million for 1 year and a guy who is serviceable is fine. And again, if Kevin said, this is what I hope he does, like you have a couple picks, maybe load up on defense, but with a couple like rounders, 5th, 6th rounders, throw some things at guards and just see who comes out. What if you get a guy better than Phil Haynes in the 5th round? It's not shocking to say you could get a guy better than Phil Haynes in the 5th round. So I'm just saying, like, throw a couple picks mid to late rounds and see what happens. And so I'm okay with it. $4 million isn't a lot. And it's 1 year. It's fine.
Yeah, Gabe Jackson, according to Brady Henderson, moving on from Jackson would save $6.5 million in cash and cap space while incurring $4.8 million in dead money. So
4.7.
Sure.
He is rounding up. He is rounding up.
So yeah, I think I'm not sure when the date is when teams will start cutting. I know that some of them already have.
Pre-June 1st.
Pre-June 1st
is the big date. June 1st is the big date.
So we'll see what moves they make along with this, but keep an eye out for that as well. Other signings include special teams captain Nick Bellore to a 2-year deal, who turns 34 in May, was also scheduled to be an unrestricted free agent. 12-year veteran has spent the past 4 seasons in Seattle. This is also according to Brady Henderson. Throwing it to Sean first. Big deal? No deal? You hate it?
Oh, it's a waste of time and money. Like you're paying. How much did he get again?
I have no idea. It doesn't say here.
It did say at one point. Oh gosh, how much is he getting? Hold on. This is great podcasting. Do you know off the top of your head, Kevin? I thought it was like 3
everything
months.
everything I've read. I haven't seen a number, honestly. So
I saw a number like right away. Didn't you see a number, Kevin?
Yeah, hold on. I'm looking it up right now. 2 years, 6.6 million.
Yeah, so $3 million. So I have a game for you guys. We'll play who played more snaps. This person or Nick Bellore. Jamal Adams or Nick Bellore?
Jamal Adams.
Yeah, Jamal Adams. Okay, so that's the stupidest sentence ever, and you just gave that guy $3 million. So he played 9 snaps on defense for a total of 0.7. And he played 1.5 on offense. I don't give a shit, sorry, what you do on special teams. Your impact is marginal. He didn't do enough on special teams to matter at all. Special teams matters are the punter and the kicker. I mean, yes, is it good to have like NFL caliber players tackling places? Yeah, but you can replace Nick Bellore on special teams with somebody else. A special teams gunner is not going to make or break your season. And it's $6 million, it's $3 million, but that's not saying like Phil Haynes basically cost you the same, a little bit less, but has value to this team. I'm sorry, Nick Bellore, but you have to do something other than special teams for me to give you a contract. Like you could be a rookie guy and do that stuff and to give you a contract, but if you're not going to do anything other than that, bring value, I'm not paying you any money. I'm sorry.
Funny thing, when I Google that contract, they have him listed as linebacker, which is just a
He
joke.
had 9 snaps at linebacker.
Um,
Jamal Adams doubled them up.
I have a theory. That it's kind of crazy, but it's the only thing that makes sense as to why to do this deal. That Nick Bellore is the bastard love child of Pete Carroll, and he was going to come out and out him that, you know, Pete Carroll had some affair a long time ago, and that he's the, you know, the child of it. But he was like, I'll keep you on this team and I'll give you money if you keep that quiet or something, because that's the only reason why this makes sense. Like, there's no reason to have Nick Bellore on this team at all. Like, he sucks at linebacker. He sucks at full. Like, we use fullback. Like,
I have how many snaps? Do you want to guess how many snaps?
Oh, God, let's go 6.
Matthew?
10.
1 a game, 17.
17. I was Price is Right rule. I won that one.
And guess what? You can use a tight end to do that.
You use 1 a game. Just don't call the play. Like it's 1 a game. You do it
Well,
one time.
I mean, if you want somebody to play a halfback, just get a tight end to do it. Like,
this guy averaged 1 play a game and he got $3 million. I would love to be Nick Bellore.
Because of his special teams, which it's like, why would you pay that when you can just, you literally, Pete Carroll are known for fighting these special teams guys.
But and again, gunners at the end of the day, the two special teams positions that matter, punters and kickers. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a gunner. Like,
he's not a gunner, he's just for tackles.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, like, that's just coaching. I know, like but you don't pay anyone other than those two on special teams.
People keep saying Pete Carroll is a freaking genius, and I still don't understand it. So, that's the only thing. I think Nick Bellore is a random love child of Pete Carroll, and he's paying them money to keep him silent and keep him happy. So,
I will say, Matthew, before you go, it like $3 million isn't the end of the world, but this is the $3 million with Jason Myers, or like, you know, with Jason Myers and all these things, it adds up is the problem. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, these little moves add to bigger moves.
Yeah. Like, for example, the $6 million that you're going to get from cutting Gabe Jackson, you could have taken that extra 3, and that's $9 million that you could have paid, like, to get a good player. Like,
you could have then got, and then you could have cut him and cut Phil Haynes and then got the best guard on the market. That's the best guard right there.
Yeah.
Boom. But
well, as much as I hate to agree with you guys, I do agree with you guys on this. I don't like the signing of Nick Bellore for 2 reasons. One, Sean already mentioned, he just doesn't play on offense or defense. And 2, I am kind of an ageist when it comes to some of these things. And at 34, and he doesn't play a position that is on offense or defense, I don't see a reason to keep him on this team. So
his age doesn't matter. Matthew doesn't play, so he's not.
Well, no. I just if for me, once I get to a player of 34 or 35, I'm looking to move on. Frankly, is my theory on it. But
it depends on the position.
It does depend on the position, absolutely. And as someone who would play a position that has a lot of impact all the time at fullback and linebacker. Now, granted, he doesn't play a lot, so his body's probably fine. But that is not the point here. The point is he doesn't play, so why does he get a contract here? Nick Bellore has good entertainment value for sure, but that is not a reason to sign him to this contract. So
it's all about the vibes. I was told the vibes are what matters.
Well, vibes absolutely matter, but are vibes $3 million? I don't know.
I'm waiting for the vibes to get wins. That's what I'm waiting for. The day vibes start getting wins, it'll matter.
All right, and then the final story for the Seahawks portion of this podcast is Buccaneers have hired former Seahawks quarterback coach Dave, boy, I'm going to say this wrong, Canales?
Close enough.
Okay. Canales? I don't know. Dave is the offensive coordinator in Tampa Bay now. Move comes 2 days after interview with the team, and he is replacing the fired Byron Leftwich after 4 seasons. So, Kevin, I'm gonna throw this to you first. Are you sad about this move? Are you like, oh, okay, that's a move? How do you feel about it?
Will it affect anything? I mean, it could affect Gino, like in his growth, to be honest, because like I think there's not much more you could add to Gino's ceiling, um, other than polishing up a few things here and there. And that's not to say that I mean that still makes Gino serviceable. He's still a guy that can get you to the playoffs. Now, whether he can get you deep in the playoffs is yet to be something that is determined. Um, but it's not that they can't bring somebody else in to, help him out. So I mean, maybe it might be a good thing for Gino to have, fresh pair of eyes and like fresh mentality of the quarterback position to teach Gino new things, to be smarter, teach him to throw the freaking ball out more often instead of freaking running around because you're 32 years old and you don't have Russell Wilson legs. Stuff like that. So honestly, good for him, props to him to getting a better job, and we'll see what they do. Did they already fill a position? Do they?
I
I
don't
thought
think
they were looking into it, dude.
I
But
don't
anywho, like I said, whoever they bring in, like I said, could be, could be a good thing for Gino. Maybe he'll learn some new stuff. So Yep.
Matthew, you're on mute.
Yeah, you're on mute, Matt.
I am not on mute. That's a lie. First he joined on 2010 as a wide receiver coach. Then he was the quarterback coach 2018-19, passing game coordinator 2021, and then quarterbacks coach again this last year. So Sean, what do you think of this?
Yeah, that's my point. As I don't think it matters a ton because Gino's been with Seattle with multiple quarterback coaches. Like I just don't think it really changes anything on that regard. So I just don't think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things. Because it's gonna be hard to tell because it depends on what Shane Waldron is, what the quarterback coach is, what the assistant quarterback coach is, what the head coach is. I think for a lot of Seahawks fans, it can't matter a bunch because Pete Carroll is getting all the credit for Gino, despite the fact the reports that they were going to play Drew Lock when they traded for him. That's how much they believe in Gino. So if nothing changes, then there'd be more to that. But if it does, then it's a big blow there. I just don't think, a quarterback coach specifically, a 1-year quarterback coach. He was a passing game coordinator before that, but I just don't think this changes a lot when it comes to Gino. And I also don't think we should be focusing on Gino as the long-term solution in Seattle either. So I don't know if it really matters what the best for Gino is. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I hope Gino gets his money, but for as the coach comes, it's just these specific position players. If somebody tells you like, "Oh, I know the value of this linebacker coach specifically," they're lying. Like, just to be honest, like they're lying. They don't know, and even the people in the building, like if you told me like you could learn things from them, but a lot goes into every day on some days, and a lot of it's just like the randomness of the pieces fitting together, to be honest. Like you've seen certain staffs look really good and they look really crappy the next year, and maybe one or two pieces changed, and they weren't even high profile pieces or pieces you didn't even know about. Like Sean McVay revolutionized NFL, and no one had any idea who it was before the Rams hired him. No one had any idea. Some quarterbacks coach for the Washington football team when they were still the Redskins at the time. No idea who they were. And again, it was a quarterback coach. And then 2 years later, he's changing an 11-man personnel. Like everything's blown up. So it's just like it's hard to tell what these guys really matter. And unfortunately, you don't know until they're gone. But right now, my gut's telling me that odds are it probably isn't going to make a huge dent in the Seahawks team.
Yeah, it's well, first of all, I'm not even going to say Gino's a quarterback until he signs with the team. So that's
what I've been saying online for a long time, and people just seem to like, "Well, we've got this position. How dare they say bad things about the Seahawks and their team?" I'm like, technically, the Seahawks don't have a quarterback, so they could say whatever they want right now.
Yeah, until he inks a contract, I'm not even going to assume who the quarterback is. So, in terms of how much impact he has, like you guys have both said, it's really hard to say. Sean mentioned, this coach had a lot of effect on me, and to a certain extent, that does make sense. Like there are coaches, I don't know if you guys have any experience, but there are coaches who do have those sorts of impacts on how your development is as an athlete in that certain sport. So I'm not going to downplay.
It's hard when it's a position player. There is a defensive coordinator and a defensive minded head coach to tell you who of those three actually did the work and put you in the position to make the thing. So it's like you could say that this linebacker coach this week helped me, but did he do all that? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just hard to tell. Like, if it's a coordinator, it's easier, but if it's a specific position coach, there's three people above them usually, or two people above them. So it's hard to tell them that one specific guy did this.
Yeah. And, quarterback coach, certainly can have quite a bit of an impact because they specifically work with the quarterbacks all the time. So it is tough to say how much of an impact this coach may have had on Geno or on Russ or any other quarterback he may have interacted with during his time in Seattle. So it's hard to say how much impact he's going to have. Now, do I think he's going to do well in Tampa Bay? I don't know, especially after Tom Brady leaving that offense. There's a lot of question marks. So he has certainly taken on a task that is not going to be very easy. But if he is as good and as everybody seems to say he is, and it sounds like he'll probably do pretty well in Tampa Bay, of course, assuming the personnel works out well for him. So,
well, I mean, and that's another thing. Maybe he might be a great coach, but they just have Trask as their quarterback. That's it right now. The best coach in the thing can only get so much out of somebody. Like it's that plays a part into it too.
But if Kyle Trask comes out there and they go 14-3, then I think maybe he's got an impact out there.
We'll cross that bridge when it comes.
I know that's what I'm saying. Like if they come out and Kyle Trask like scorches the earth, then it's like, well, maybe he did have pretty good
impact.
Going
14-3, it has to be Kyle Trask tearing it up and going 14-3. Like he could play like Trent Dilfer in 2000 and they go 14-3, and I still won't believe in Kyle Trask.
Then there's the rumor of them going to get Mr. Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's going to get Aaron Rodgers after he came out of his cave. So,
I mean, if you're Aaron Rodgers and you see the weapons in Tampa Bay,
but did you see the cave though? It's not really.
Oh, the Darkness Cave.
It's not even the Darkness Cave. Did you see it? It's pretty well.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, it's in Oregon. You could probably go to it if you want to, Kevin.
Yeah, it's. I mean, come on. Like it's such BS. I thought it was going to be real Darkness Cave. It was such a lie.
All right. And before we move off from the football topic altogether, Sean, I've seen you tweeting about the Seattle Sea Dragons, and it has not been going well. So I did tune into the fourth quarter of the DC game, and I tuned in right when they were ahead 18-8, and then they lost. So I don't know if I can watch another game, but then I didn't watch on Thursday, and they lost to a last-second field goal. So have you've been watching at least a couple games?
I've seen both their games. What I will say is they are not an 0-2 team. They are better than that. However, because they got unlucky, because when you fumble on the 1 yard line as the time's running out, that is unlucky. Just like when you do it 2 times in a game, and again, for you, it is lucky, aka the Seahawks beating the Broncos week 1, super lucky. They're not. I didn't have faith in them because I know their GM. I know how he operates. I didn't think they're going to be very good because he's just dumb. Like, just call it like it is. Just doesn't get it. It's too old school. It's just not going to work. However, they do have more talent. And they should be better than this. But it's sloppy. But it's kind of fun with the rules and everything like that. So, but they're going to be a little better. But I just don't think they were the favorites to win the Super Bowl when the season started.
I mean the XFL Bowl, whatever.
By some Super Bowl, so by some tiny little margin or whatever it was, which meant nothing. But I didn't think they were ever going to win anything that mattered. They have Josh Gordon, that's why I picked him, and Josh Gordon hasn't been doing a whole lot. Just FYI.
Well, I will say the some of the rules are great. Like I love the 4th and 15 as opposed to an onside kick. Like NFL, just please do that. Like I love it.
The kickoff is really good.
Yeah.
Less impact. The going
the
for
1
it,
point, 2 point, 3 point.
Yeah.
Attempts.
They challenge literally every play, which is, I think we've talked in this podcast. I know me and Kevin have talked about it. They can challenge literally anything, subjective calls, whatever. Go for it. That's what this NFL needs to do. You didn't like a holding call on your left tackle? Throw a flag. Make them look at it again. And they have it mic'd up so you can hear the entire review process, which really helps, like what they're talking about. Because sometimes if you just get the end of it, and they're like, that's stupid. Why did that happen? hearing it and hearing the process, I feel like really helps a lot of these people figure out what is actually going on in the review. They even admitted one time, they're like, look, we can't see the play. We don't have an angle of this. It's just what it is. And then they're like, okay, we don't have an angle of it. Can't see it. And so they reviewed it the same way. And then 5 minutes later, another angle came out. But they in real time, you could see the booth. They're going through replays, and they're like, he's like, I can't see it. I can't see it. We got to move on. And so they moved on. So I was like, it makes sense. It's good to see that. So mic up more people.
Kevin, are you going to watch Sea Dragons game at some point? They are on Saturday, 4 p.m. Pacific on FX against the Vegas Vipers. Just saying.
I will. I do have Saturday off, so I'll try to watch it.
And the Vegas
Fortunately,
Vipers,
I was working the last 2 ones, so yeah, the Vipers.
It's a nice logo. They suck, but it's a nice logo.
Also, can we? People have pointed out the Sea Dragons logo is worse than it was originally. Can we bring the other one back? Can we bring that back? I
Yeah,
agree.
I mean, it's not like horrible compared to it.
It like
They
cartoonied it up a little bit. Like
yeah, they made it tweaks and made it more cartoony versus badass. So yeah, it definitely got worse.
Yeah, so change the logo back and you'll win all your games. I think that's how that works. So, if you have any takes about the Seahawks or the Sea Dragons, or if there are too many Sea teams in Seattle, go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Matt. Sean's at Sean Scorbady. Kev is at SEA2Believe. That's C2Believe. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Tell us what you think in the comments below. Like our videos. Let's talk about some Seattle Kraken hockey. Before we get to that, shout out to the local team there, where Sean and Kevin are. The Tri-City Americans clinched their playoff spot last week in the WHL playoffs. So kudos to the Tri-City Americans. But let's talk about the big professional team. And since we were last,
you're not gonna shout out Seattle, the Silvertips. They're like killing it.
You mean the Thunderbirds?
Thunderbirds, yeah.
No, because my allegiance is to the Americans and always will be. So
yeah, but we're East West, and you just even shout them out.
Yeah, Everett, Portland, Spokane, Seattle.
Who cares about Everett?
Go away.
Come on.
Yeah, go away. Don't like you. So
I mean, Seattle's like really good.
They are really good. They are really good. But since we were last on the podcast, it was the NHL All-Star break, and the Kraken have lost 7 of 10. They lost to the Islanders, New Jersey Devils, New York Rangers. They won against Philly, but then lost to Winnipeg to wrap up a 5-game road trip. They came home for 2 games, won both of those against Philly and Detroit. Then they went to San Jose on February 20th and lost to Sean's Sharks 4-0. Then they came home for 2 tough games against the Boston Bruins and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Played a good game against Boston, but came up on the short end 6-5, and then lost to Toronto yesterday at home. Got a couple 4-game road trip coming up against St. Louis, Detroit, Columbus, and Colorado. And I'm going to throw it to Kevin first. Have you watched any Kraken hockey lately?
I work too dang much. I wish there's just too much stuff to watch when you work too dang much. Like I said, I look at the box scores and stuff like that, and I keep track of. I mean, it's sad to see, with them being so hot. But as Sean already mentioned on the previously on the podcast, that they would probably come back down to earth, and they definitely have. It was more of a crash landing back down to earth versus like a gentle glide down. But this is going to happen with the young teams and stuff like that. They're going to have high highs and low lows, and hopefully they can just use this to, push forward into hopefully a decent playoff run. But like, even if they, go one and done, like it's still, there's nothing to be mad about in this team, just because nobody expected this team to be in the position that they are right now, that we've already mentioned, and that you use this to go on to next year to have those expectations. So, I'm glad to see Matty Beniers back and playing. After the bull crap that happened in, what was it, Calgary or Vancouver? It's Vancouver.
It's Vancouver. Yeah,
it was Vancouver. I knew it was one of the multiple Canada teams, but so yeah, like I said, whatever they get out of this year is just kind of like a cherry on top, and then use that to make the goal better for an actual good playoff push next season with added pieces.
Sean, they are sitting in the second wild card spot right now with 23 games to go. What have you thought of the Seattle Kraken these last couple weeks?
Like Kevin said, they're they're young and they're figuring out, but they just don't have the goaltender, the horse to get them over. They playing good teams, and the good teams are just beating them. Frankly, like the Islanders, New Jersey, New York, Winnipeg, Boston, Toronto. They're just better teams. They're beating the Phillies twice and Detroit. Detroit got hot though, so I mean, there's that. But they just can't. I mean, they clearly four, five, six, seven. Grubauer started 6 of the 7 games. Just has not looked great. Of course, the one game that Grubauer doesn't play, Martin Jones plays, and then proceeds to look terrible against my Sharks, which super pissed about that because the Sharks would be 1 game out of the first overall pick if the Kraken had pulled their head out, but that was not to be. Could not help us out there, so that was super fun.
Ducks gonna get it.
Just we're right there, we're tanking, selling, trading off. We'll get to the trade deadline here in a second, but it's just it's just the goaltending is just gonna let them down. I mean, they've given up an average of 5 goals in the last 3 games, and they were fortunate to put up 5 against Boston because Boston is just that was fortunate to even be that close. Boston's is a workhorse, and just getting boat raced by Toronto. It's just they're probably still, like I said, I was pretty confident in saying that they were going to hold a playoff spot. They have quickly collapsed. Nashville, and Calgary are right there. They're 2.5 games.
4 points
and
back.
I say games.
Calgary's 4 points back.
No, 2.5 games, like 2 wins and things like that. Is that I'm simplifying it for people at home because they don't know the points, probably most of them. 2 wins, 2 games up on Calgary and Nashville. 2.5 more likely because Seattle has a game in hand at Calgary, but everybody else has in the wild card has traded pieces. St. Louis down is out, so it's basically just 2 teams coming after them. Calgary had a lot of talent last year. They did trade it. They did get some talent return, but it's just not clicking as much. So I still think out of those 3 teams, Seattle, Calgary, Nashville, they're the best team. But Nashville's hot right now, and they got 2 games at hand still. And if they win both those games, they're a game out. And so it's going to come down to the wire now. And can Seattle do it? What's the remaining schedule here? It looks pretty nice. I see a lot of Anaheim, Arizona, Vancouver, Arizona, Chicago, Arizona.
I mean, and they play Nashville back to back, a team that's behind them. So
Nashville back to back. They get San Jose one more time. Should be a win. Please pull your head out. They do get Dallas twice though. They get Dallas 3 times. They get Dallas, San Jose, Edmonton, Dallas, Nashville.
Boy, they get Dallas like 3 times in a week. Jesus.
Yeah,
What a weird schedule.
Let's put it this way, and they get Colorado, who is figuring out who they are real fast. I guess the best way to put it is in their hands. If they struggle, they probably won't make the playoffs. Actually, now I look at it, but this is a position you want to be. Like Kevin said, we didn't think they'd be here. At least they're here. They have addressed a lot of their needs. They really just need a goaltender, and it's a good position to be in. It's a hard position to find, but at least it's just one position, and you could kind of go at it in the offseason and figure it out from there.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what they're gonna do at the trade deadline. We'll get into that in a second, but it has been weird to watch them struggle. They were very successful early in the season, and we talked about that they would probably come back down to earth, but it has been weird to see because of how successful they were earlier in the season. Now they have played some better teams, and there are probably some games in there that they probably had a better chance to win, but just couldn't quite pull through. But we'll really see what this team is down the stretch here. 4 game on the road. They have been playing pretty well on the road this season. Actually, they have a better away record than they do home record. So being on the road might actually be better for them down the stretch. But like Sean said, down the stretch they do have Vegas twice to close the season. They've got Arizona 3 times, but you can't necessarily count those as wins, even though they should be wins. And then they take on the Kings the first day of April. Shout out to myself for going to that game probably. So we'll see how they do down the stretch here. But we want to talk a little bit about the trade deadline, Sean. And I am gonna throw out a trade that I have been thinking about for a while. So we have talked about goaltending, right? So I think they can get some goaltending right now to help them. But here's my trade proposal, Sean. Think about this. I want to ask Anaheim for John Gibson, and who they send back in return is Brandon Tanev and Yanni Gord. I don't like saying it. I don't like saying it, but I think that is a reasonable deal for both sides. The Kraken can address their goaltending. They give up a couple forwards that have some value. Gord more than Tanev, of course, in terms of just points, but Gord has some value there for the future. If they somehow get the number 1 pick, you could have Gord pair up a little bit with. You've got you would have Gord, then possibly Bedard, and God, what's the other? The guy that's really good on their team that does the crazy goals. Why am I forgetting this? Sean knows this.
The rookie now. He's on the current NHL. What is his name? Oh God, this is.
Yep, this is hurting me. It's hurting my brain.
What is
Zegras.
his name?
Trevor Zegras.
Yeah. Trevor Zegras.
So that would be my trade proposal to address the goaltending issue. And then if you did do that, I would probably send Jones down. Just to only have 2 goalies on the roster. But Sean, what do you think of a trade deadline proposal for the Kraken to improve their team?
John Gibson's not good at hockey anymore. So that's a problem.
Is he not?
No. Gosh. I mean, I get it.
I think he's an upgrade.
Well, I mean, Kevin's close to an upgrade at this point. So, I mean,
whoa.
I think there are a couple, like Carter Hart in Philly. I think it's probably a better option.
That could make sense. Bring it back
however,
towards
I
Everett.
believe how old is Carter Hart?
Maybe 26, 25.
I was gonna say he is super young. I thought 24. The problem with that is like he's gonna cost a ton. I think like as in to get him, and he's playing pretty well. 24-year-old playing well goalie, but you have a ton of picks. So what I'm saying is like,
you're saying hold firm.
No, I say go for it. I say like all you need is the goalie. So you have a ton of picks. Get rid of Tanev, like the 2 players you said, totally fine. They're not going to break your season, and give a ton of picks and go get Carter Hart, because that is the last thing you need. And he's a young goalie. He's playing really well right now. Top 10 goalie in the league on a bad team. Do it. Like, do it.
Played in the Northwest already before.
Yeah, it's all you need. I mean, there are other options if you want, but I just feel like he's like, yeah, he'd look repeat like Seattle fans would be really nice to like they would understand like, oh, this is what it looks like to have a good goalie, because the Seattle has never had a good goalie, so it would look really nice.
All right, well, let us know what you think of the Seattle Kraken, but guys, I know this is your season now. That's right, the Seattle Mariners are back. Spring training has begun. I'm gonna get to the news in a little bit, but what have been your initial impressions of the 3 spring training games we've had so far? 2, I don't know. What are your initial impressions? Kevin, I'm throwing it to you first.
Well, we're gonna win the World Series.
Oh wow.
Absolutely. Done deal.
Everyone go to the casino, put down your money now.
Yeah.
You heard
The
it.
1-3 Mariners. Kevin has seen the 1-3 Mariners. World Series.
Do it. Yeah, that's the thing about spring training. There's really nothing to go off of. Now,
wait, I thought Evan White was back and Kelnick was the MVP.
Of course.
You could say Evan White is back. He is just healthy. Like, that is just what we're looking for.
Evan White. So a lot of people have forgotten about Evan White just because of what Ty France has done. Evan White is way better defensively at first base than Ty France. So let's put it like that. Now, Ty France is a better overall bat, and Ty France is solid at first base to where we've not really needed Evan White's defensiveness at first base. But Evan White's defensiveness at first base is pretty freaking nutty. Like, he's done some crazy crap. Let's not lie there. And his bat has been always kind of like kind of like Zanino-ish, where like he'll just hit bombs or strike out. Now if he can reduce the strikeout rate and still hit bombs, I think he's a good DH option, possibly, because right now you're not really, other than like whoever's not in left field platoon being DH, or like if somebody needs a day off, from field work in infield, like you can do that. But I mean, it's a possibility where you could see like him at first or the Ty France DH too. That's there's tons of possibilities. It's still super young and I mean, we still just need to see a lot more out of than just one home run. But his defensive skills is what's very intriguing about what you do with him in the future, and plus the contract that you gave him too. Like, so other than that, not really much to take out of it. Spring training, things will get cleaned up, especially the 10-1 loss today. I saw a couple people freaking out. Like, spring training, like, calm down. Most of those
pull your World Series bets. Pull your World Series bets now. Sorry, guys.
Some of those pitchers are not going to even see the opening day roster.
Some, like 2 maybe, will play baseball for the Mariners. Like 3.
The majority of them are going to go to Tacoma or elsewhere. So like,
much lower than Tacoma, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, people just needed it. Now, I mean, it was cool to see, kind of what you would see in the normal batting rotation, with most of the guys getting at least 2 bats. I don't like seeing Julio going up and diving for crazy crap in the outfield and like risking his body for a spring training game. I don't like seeing that, but I know he's got a lot of enthusiasm and he's eager to show his stuff, but I'd rather him stay healthy. So all in all, it's fun to see that baseball's back. The rules have been interesting so far to see in the other games, like the where that one game ended. What was it, Boston and on the pitch clock?
Something.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting. So we'll kind of see everybody poop their pants on Twitter about it, even though they've been asking for it. And then people go back on their own stuff, and then just so yeah. Hopefully I just hope Kelnick continues to stay hot. More on base hits, but and Sean will go into that in a little bit as well, but not bad so far.
I would like Kelnick to be a hot little pepper this entire season. But Sean, what have you thought of the Mariners so far?
I just love how Kevin passes it off and makes me talk about certain things. But I
want to say it all though, to where you're just like,
I know.
No,
I mean, I agree. I just want Kelnick. Kelnick has hit the ball well even when he gets out. So it's not. I mean, it's spring training. At the end of the day, it doesn't mean a ton, especially when it comes to that. But I just want to see his approach when it comes to real pitches, real games, and if his approach just improves, the stats should improve. And his approach has been better so far, and we'll see if that continues. Spring training, it's not. I think the most important thing is Evan White's just healthy, like Kevin said. Like, he's just healthy playing ball. Like, people forget the last full season he played, he had like a 132 WRC plus. Like, he was a good hitter in AA. AA, it's a hard place to hit. Hit 18 home runs in 90 games. The year before, minor leagues, 130 WRC plus. The year before, 140. Like, he was a good hitter. Like Kevin said, he is like, I saw a poll the other day, and I was talking with a buddy of ours, Brett, said, who would you rather have? Evan White at DH and Ty France play first, or the opposite? And I was like, the fact that you even have that option if they're both healthy. Ty France sits on the bench so effing fast. It's not even funny. Evan White is so much better defender than Ty France could even dream of ever being. That's not a knock on Ty France. That's just what Evan White was has always been. They're like, he could be one of the best first baseman defensive players ever. Like, he's that good at playing defense. The question was, could he hit enough to be a first baseman? Because first baseman, they have to hit, because that's a position that usually you could find some people who can hit. And defense usually doesn't matter as much at first base. Yes, is it a good thing to be good at defense at any position? Yes. Would you rather have a better defensive shortstop? Yeah, that position means more, but he's what might be one of the best defense first basemen of all time. It's just, can he hit enough, just league average or a little bit of league average, and then we're talking. But he hasn't got there yet, obviously. But if he just needs to stay healthy, and if he just can get healthy, I still trust, like Kevin said, he's still super young. He's 26. He's barely played. He's played like what? We're talking like 300 at bats. He has 300 bats in the majors. That's it. Not even half a season. So it's just like, give him some time, and he's been fighting injuries the whole 300 at bats too. And at a certain point, you have to shake that. But again, like, let's hope this is the year. Let's hope he's healthy, because you saw him make that diving. I don't know if you guys saw it in the second game. It was just like a rocket down the line. And he snags that thing, and he makes it look like it's nothing. Like, it was, Ty France is never getting close to that baseball. I'm sorry, but Ben White just got it and was like, oh, I got him. Wow, here you go. And so, like, that is huge to see. Results be damned. I don't care. I don't want anyone to get hurt. Julio stopped diving in the center field today for a baseball. I don't want to see that. Kind of came up a little limp, but he's fine. Don't ever do that. I'm yelling at you on the bench. I'm sitting you down. I'm not. But I just want everybody to be healthy that's going to play. And I just want pitchers to do what they're going to do. Work on pitches. Do your thing. Don't give away too much of your repertoire in the spring training. But yeah, it's fine. It's spring training. I did forget how big of a human being Isaiah Campbell is. So I turned on the spring training game today. 6'4", 240 is just super intimidating to see on the mound. Like, it is just, and those spring training are a little lower too. So he just looks like a mountain of a human being. So yeah, it's just, yeah, Evan White is just, he's going to win every single Gold Glove there is, and it's just not even going to be close if he's like healthy. He just needs to hit enough to stay in the majors. And that's how good Ed White is at first base. Seriously, the rumor was he might be one of the best first basemen defensively of all time. Can he just play enough? So yeah, Evan White's a real deal. Just be healthy, Evan White, and play some, and just let Ty France, because we were always like, what are we gonna do with DH? Cooper Hummel, what's that? I'm like, just let Ty France be a DH. That's a great DH. And Evan White could be your first baseman. But it depends on Evan White. So
all right, well, let's talk about injuries. And I want to bring up this topic as well, because I'm going to chime in first. I'll let you guys talk. But Taylor Trammell is out 6 to 7 weeks with a broken right hand. Trammell was injured when he was hit by a pitch during a workout before spring training started this week. Team president of baseball operations, Jerry DePoto, said Trammell entered camp as a contender for a platoon spot in left field with Jared Kelnick and Mariners newcomer AJ Pollock. So I want to ask you guys a couple questions about this. First, how big of an impact is this for the Mariners? And then I want to ask, you guys have mentioned injuries, staying healthy during spring training, and I understand all that, but like, give me a percentage how hard you want guys to play, because injuries can happen anytime, frankly. Like, I understand you don't want guys to go 100% in spring training. I understand that, because those games don't matter. But what percentage do you want them to play at? Because they are still trying to get up to game speed for the regular season. As someone who partially tore their ACL playing ping pong at a bar, I know that injuries can happen wherever you are, just doing random things. Remember, I think what Kazuhiro Sasaki hurt himself on the stairs. Like, crazy things happen, but also when you're playing spring training, you have to keep in mind that you have a regular season to play. So what percentage do you want players to play at? So Sean, I'm gonna ask you that first.
it depends on the player. Like, if you're a vet, Robbie Ray, for I don't know first name, I don't care. Just go out and, like, it's because a lot of times pitchers work on something. Like, they're like, I don't care what the results are of this game. I'm going to work in a lot on my new splitter. I just want to see how it works on a game time situation. I want to see how batters react to it. And they're like, oh, he hit it out. I don't care. I'm just working on the pitch. I'm just getting the pitch down. Like, because I'm not throwing my off speed stuff. I'm not mixing in things. I'm just like, I'm throwing fastballs and just throw them. Like, it's just like, it doesn't matter the results. So, like, kind of like Felix. Felix was notoriously a terrible spring training person because he's just working on things. He's just like, I'm getting up to speed. I'm doing my thing, mainly with pitchers too, but like even hitters. Like, I just need like Julio to just kind of get some rhythm. Like, I don't care about your results, but just like, okay, you're getting at bats. Catch some fly balls in the outfield. Maybe run a little bit. Don't dive into center field. But like, just the rhythm of baseball again. I'm gonna get you play every 2, then give you a day off, then 2, maybe 3, then give you a day off. But like you're getting in the rhythm. Don't go hard. But the guys that are like maybe not Kelnick, because Kelnick's basically it was him and AJ Pollock's job. Mariners don't really have a position where it's like you're fighting for a position. Maybe some bullpen guys, but there are some teams out there who some guys there's a legit competition and some young guys or something like that. And if I were in those positions, I want those guys to go all out. Like, look, you're a second baseman, you were just a second year guy out of college, and this other kid's coming up, and we're the Cubs, and we got to play a guy. Go all out, go for that job. But if you're a vet, less. So it really depends on the position and who it is and what we're fighting for. Like Teoscar Hernandez, I don't want you to do nothing out there. You're 31, you got 1 year, don't hurt yourself. Like it is like just don't hurt yourself. Get some ABs and walk to first. Like that's about it. Like, but the younger guys, the guys who need it, like the bullpen guys, maybe some of these bullpen guys, Juan Then who pitched, Isaiah Campbell. Let's see what you got a little bit. I'm not banking on it. None of them are going to make the team out of camp anyways, but like, let's just see kind of what you have. And they both had bad games today, but it doesn't really matter. Just show me something. I need to see your stuff more than the results.
So give me an average for all the players. What are you saying? Like 75%, 80?
70.
Okay.
70, 65, depending on your team. Yeah.
All right, Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, to kind of comment on the whole Trammell thing, I don't think it's going to affect Trammell that much because honestly, he'll be back in April. Like, I mean, he's not missing he's just pretty much missing spring training and then a little bit
back end of April, probably.
And well, yeah, like I said, sometime in April, most likely the end of April.
And I think me and Kevin agree. It was going to be Kelnick and Pollock anyways. Like,
yeah, I think you probably might have brought him up like for a little bit just to see what.
Oh yeah. He could have been a bench guy, but right, you're probably rolling out Kelnick.
And honestly,
right?
he could have been like I would rather see him like for days that Teoscar needs a day off. I'd rather see him in right field versus putting like Dylan Moore out there.
Yeah,
just because you want what you have in Dylan Moore. Like I want to.
And Dylan Moore's an infielder, really mainly by trade. Anyways.
Yeah, but he's played left field before for us.
Yeah, but Trammell is an outfielder.
Outfielder, exactly.
Yeah, like he just
a more
is
natural outfielder.
Yeah,
and he's way more athletic than.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have Trammell out there in right field than Dylan Moore. Or even if you swapped and put Kelnick in right and then Dylan in left, I'd rather have Trammell in left than have Dylan Moore in left field.
Yeah.
So I think you could see that to where like he might be the guy that just gives Teoscar a day off to where you put him in right field and you see, give him a couple bats and see what you got. Now, the bad part about that is that a lot of guys, especially his age, need you can't do this whole you play a day and then you don't play for like a week type deal. You got to see what the kid's got. This is the year. So I honestly think like once he's healthy, like AJ Pollock, sit your ass down and then you put him and Kelnick platooning in left field for like 2 weeks.
The problem is they're both lefties. Kelnick and him are lefties.
I know. And then, I mean, when you need a righty, I guess you could do it. But like, this is the year where you kind of got to see what you have in Trammell and Kelnick, technically, as we've already mentioned.
I think this is the year for Trammell or for Kelnick. And then if it doesn't work out, then you see what you got with Trammell next year. Maybe.
But as far as it affecting this team, not a whole lot, and then like what guys should do. Yeah, pitching wise, most of the people that you're going to see are going to be minor leaguers like out there. You're going to see your starters mainly for like what we saw, like Robbie Ray flexing for like 2 innings, and that's it. And that, like as Sean mentioned, they're just working on new things. You're going to probably see Kirby out there working on like his 4-seamer or whatever the hell for like 2 innings, and then you just pull them, and then it's just literally AA guys, AAA guys throwing their shit. Pardon my language, but I'm just out there just feeding innings pretty much. And that's fine. That gets your younger guys like more veteran experience going against veteran hitters and stuff like that to see what you have in minor leaguers, to see like if like what we've seen out of Bryce Miller so far, that like could another pitcher like that be like, oh well, that guy just went against like 3 major league players and he just struck that, just put them all down, type of deal. That's a bonus on top of it, so to speak. But right now you're just trying to feed innings, just getting people their stuff, doing bare minimum and just staying healthy and adding to your repertoire. That's it. Period. So.
All right. Well, we are running out of time here, but I do want to get your guys' quick opinions. If you have watched some games, baseball wise, what are your thoughts on the pitch clock? Is it working? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Is it unnecessary? Kevin, what do you think?
I think it's something that they're just gonna have to get used to, because a lot of pitchers, you're literally changing. You just have had so much time before. Like, it's adaptable. Most definitely. Like, it's done in other sports too. I'm not free. I always hate that I have to bring this, but like the PBA, they have a clock to where you have to make a shot when it's on TV, but versus when you're not on TV, you don't have a shot clock. So, just prep, like, you just got to get your preparation, do your pre-pitch routine of whatever the heck. It'll be interesting. My main thing is I want to see what Garcia looks like without them allowing him to do what he has been doing, which is little baby rock, freaking thingy-mabobber. I think for the first month you're gonna see some whiners out there on Twitter, and then like there'll be a couple there'll be like 1 or 2 games that will have some drastic thing because of the pitch clock, or the hitter doesn't get in the box in time, to where it'll affect a game, and then like their fans are gonna piss and moan and stuff like that. And then I think by May and June everybody's just gonna shut up and watch baseball. So,
Sean, what do you think of the pitch clock?
Yeah, I think Kevin's right. I think it could tweak a little bit. I think
Actually, one question: will Mom have to record the next show after the Mariners game that's slotted in the DirecTV slot, or will it just be condensed in between that 3-hour slot?
it should be good. I think it could use 5 more seconds. There are some times where it's pretty quick, like it's just like okay, like it's pretty quick. But we did see our buddy Brett in a chat that we have, Kevin, I don't know if you saw that video, sent a picture of how long it took for a one relief pitcher during a baseball postseason game to throw a pitch, and how many times Jose Altuve could hit an inside the park home run inside the time it took, and the answer was 7. He hit 7 inside the park home runs the time it took the pitcher to throw 1 pitch. And that's what it's for. It's like, look, it takes too long in between pitches. 15 seconds sometimes is too much, or is too little when you get a ball thrown to you, you got to scuff it a little bit to get a grip on it. For player safety, I want that guy to scuff it a little bit because he's throwing 98. He needs to know where it's going. And then scuff it a little bit, then get it ready and then go. But it is designed so that they stop touching and doing stuff and pumping and the batter to get in the box and go. I saw people saying when Kevin referenced, I can't remember, Phillies in Atlanta in Boston or something. I can't remember the game it was.
It was Boston and some other team.
Yeah, ended in a
6-6 tie. I saw this as well.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with it. You know the rules. This is what spring training is for. It probably won't happen in a real game, but that's what the rules for. If you don't like it, then get in the box or throw the ball. Like it's simple as that. You know the time. You can see the time. The ump is telling you. That you have 5 seconds left. Throw the baseball. Or you have that time. Get in the box. Get ready.
And I will say I do agree.
It's not subjective.
They do need to, because it happened in a game, I think it was yesterday, where a pitcher didn't like the ball and he asked for a new ball from the ump, and they threw it to him and they did not reset the pitch clock. He had 10
seconds. The play clock where you're like, hey, a new ball.
He's literally just trying to get grip on it, and then they call it.
Who is known for wasting time and touching his hair. So I think they're sending a message to him and the Indians,
and that's possible too. But I think they do need to reset the pitch clock if a pitcher gets a new. But that's the thing too, is you don't want them to exploit that to where they throw you a ball and then you grip it and you're like, oh, I don't like that. Reset, throw the, you get one. Be like, it's a brand new ball, you get one, and then
I think that's a good rule. I think, Kevin.
Then if you throw a slider and then it hits the dirt and stuff like that, and then you ask for a new one, then that's fine.
Because it's the same thing as throwing it over. You get 2 of those, and then the third one you have to get them all out or not. So you should be able to get 1 ball, and then it should start the clock over.
But I have a feeling Sean is right. There might be an issue to where, like, if you don't want to see a 95-mile-an-hour fastball going at somebody's head because
he's trying to
the
grab the
pitcher
ball.
didn't have,
Oh crap!
yeah,
And, like,
exactly. He didn't have enough time to, to prep it. Like, so
I think 15 seconds still is enough when the pitcher gets the ball to be like, okay, I've got the
yeah.
ball. Like,
Well, I'm
I
saying,
think
like, if they are giving them a reset on the clock, it's plenty of time. But
yeah,
like less than 10 seconds, no. That's that
Yeah.
you need the
Will
15.
this have an effect on the batters as well? Because I'm thinking like Ichiro all those years had that pre-bat routine where he would do this. Like I don't even think he
it's
could do that anymore,
funny.
really, could
I
he?
think it's funny that you go to Ichiro when everyone our age immediately went to Nomar. Nomar Garcia Parra was the first name everybody else thought on the planet. Like the and then he's like,
Oh,
okay,
the
get out
batting
of here.
gloves.
Yeah, every
Every
time.
time.
And I've seen people on Twitter all the
Mhm.
time sharing that gif of Nomar because that's where everybody went. That it was like 30 and up. It was like Nomar Garcia Parra. But like
yeah, Ichiro did too.
Ichiro did his thing, but Ichiro did a little thing, but then pointed, and he just then waited for the pitcher. Like most of his was just waiting for the pitcher, and then. But I think a lot of it's just like, look, at the end of the day, a lot of the batters will do their thing to get ready, but then once their position is set, it's the same. And so just get set is what they're saying. Like you're wasting a lot of time
And
doing
so
a lot of the
that
extra
thing is
stuff.
just to be in the box. You don't have to be ready for the pitch then. Is that right?
If you're in the box, they could throw it whenever.
Well, yeah.
It does
Okay.
not matter. Like
Okay.
Yeah.
your box
If you're not
indicates
ready,
you are
then-
ready to receive the pitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
So technically, whenever Ichiro is doing his thing, if a pitcher just quick pitched him and threw it, that is a live ball. Like there is no timeout, no nothing. If you're in the box, you're ready to go.
Yep.
And that's what the thing is. Like the batter's rule is you have to be in the box at a certain point because the pitcher has to like get the because there's nothing stopping the batter from like just looking back at the catcher and be like, "That's your account. Okay, you're gonna throw that," and then he gets in the box. So the batter has to get in the box, and then they usually go through the signs or do their little calls or whatever, or something like that. I don't know how it is now with like pitch comms because some people don't use them still and some do. So pitch comms kind of eliminate the need for like throwing the signals down, but that's kind of what the whole idea was before. The batter had to be in the box first, so they couldn't just blatantly cheat, and then the pitcher has to go. But yeah, it's just I think I saw someone suggest it 5 more seconds, so 20 seconds. You wouldn't probably notice it throughout the game. It might add, however many at bats there, it might add a couple, like, I don't know, 10 minutes maybe even in that. You wouldn't notice it at all. If you just added 5 seconds, it would eliminate all of the questionable stuff. If you can't throw a baseball in 20 seconds, what are you complaining about? Like Kevin said, like, there should be enough time to scuff a baseball and stand there and get a thing, even brush some off, say no, and then throw a baseball. 20 seconds. Should not be a problem.
If you're Garcia, you gotta rock the baby.
Gotta rock, baby.
All right. Well, let us know what you think of the pitch count, the Mariners beginning of the spring training. Go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Bader_Matt. Sean is at Sean Scobetti. Kev is at SEA2Believe on Twitter. That is C2Believe. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Tell us what you think in the comments below of the topics we talk about. I'm going to get us out on this great clip of Jerry Dipoto striking out Scott Servais. There's a lot of history in baseball, and a lot of guys in management positions may have played or probably did play. And this was kind of a weird clip to see, but it's kind of cool to see where both these guys kind of came from. It's like, yeah, they know baseball. They've been in it for a long time, and it's just really weird to see, frankly. But are we getting old? Maybe we're getting old. I don't know.
We are.
But do want to give one last shout out to the Seattle Seawolves. They won their opening match last weekend. So if you want to watch some rugby, check out the Seattle Seawolves. Check out the Seattle Sea Dragons for your XFL football fix this winter. And we should be back soon. So
the Seawolves on more TV, not Paramount Plus, please.
Yeah, that'd be a good call as well. That'd be a good call.
I used to watch them when they were on CBS a lot more. Paramount Plus, man. It's hard to watch it.
All right. Well, with that, we will see you next time on Washington East to West Sports. Bring back the Sonics.